What's shaky, guys? My name is Luke Dancy, and welcome to this week's episode of Unplugged. Got a great guest tonight. I've got Oscar Munoz. He is the former president of the IBM, no, not the computer company, the International Brotherhood of Magicians Foundation. You know all about that. Also an award-winning magician. He won the Gold Cups, and he's been a professional magician for over 30 years, which is pretty rad. And he's just one of the coolest guys around. So I'm going to go ahead and stop talking about him, start talking to him right about now. Oscar, how we doing, sir?
Hey guys, how you guys doing?
All right. Welcome, my friend. Thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. At least somebody remembers me.
Whatever, whatever. You've done a lot, and we're going to talk about a lot of it. And we're going to get to know you a little bit better. I've had a chance to get to know you some over the last couple months now, and now everyone else will too. So what do you think about that?
I enjoy getting on the Murphy's chat room, and I mean, it's a breath of fresh air when you can talk magic with other people that you've never met before, and a great bunch of guys that pop on there once in a while that you've heard about them, you see their magic, and then there's so nice, so really cool cats.
Good times, good times. Well, you're a cool cat. That's why I'm promoting this. You're one of the coolest cats in the magic biz, even though you don't use cats in your magic, you use chihuahuas. So I don't know about
Chihuahua, yeah.
that. Why don't we talk about you and some of your backstory, and then we'll get into how you became the president of the IBM and all the awards that you've won and competing and all that. So, Oscar Munoz, how did you get into the world of magic? What was the story for you in the early days?
Okay, the honest truth, there's um, being born in South Texas to a very poor family. You really don't have the opportunities that some people have today. Um, you know, back in the day when we wanted to learn something, we would hunt down those people. We wanted to see these guys, and we read about you didn't. There wasn't no VHS was growing up. There, barely had movie. What do you call it? TVs back home. So anyway, uh, my first experience with magic was a magician came to our school. And that summer, I spent the summer working out in the fields. And I would just pick cotton, watermelon, onions, tomatoes, all that stuff. And I knew what it cost to buy things. So my mom wouldn't let me buy magic. But I saw this magician, and he had this bag of coins after the show. I think it was 50 cents a child. And like I was able to take 50 cents for my mom and allowed to go see the show. And I was like, yeah. And as a little kid, you're thinking, damn, I just spent a whole weekend working out in the fields. This guy just did 45 minutes. Look at all that. When you're a little kid, you look at that big bag of money. So that was the first initial one. And then my grandmother would get sick, and she would go to the hospital. And right across the street in McAllen, Texas, there was this called Viking Magic. And I walked in there and I saw what it took to be a magician. And George Robinson was the guy who kind of guided me in so many directions on the magic. Now, he wouldn't tell you tell you how the things were done. He would kind of hint you where you could find them in books and stuff. And then he'd carry on with me and taught me stuff. Yeah. So that was the beginnings. And then I entered the competition. I started in smaller conventions and moved my way up to the nationals. This guy that you see here before you, that purple Zook guy, was a caricature when I was in the Marine Corps. One of the guys asked me, "Hey, dude, you have a lowrider? Do you carry a switchblade?" And I'm like, "Oh, what? No, I don't have a lowrider. I don't carry a switchblade." And so the character itself just grew from that caricature of what they thought Latinos were all about. So that was the guy that talked like this all the time. Purple Zoot, the Chihuahua dog, the dice, all that was just part of a character. So yeah, I mean, magic has been good to me. It's taken me all over the world.
That is the big thing, even though magicians are now at home, a lot of them are having to perform online. You can't forget about the places you've been and the things you've seen because of magic, and I'm sure you'll see this stuff again.
Well, I always said that no matter where you're at in the world, if you tell somebody you're a magician, somebody go like, oh, I know so and so,
Yeah.
and let me give them a call, and you're like, pretty soon you're like talking magic with these people, and they were like, we'll meet you at dinner. You gotta stay at my place, that kind of a thing, anywhere in the world. So it was a really good. I always wanted. This is what I wanted to be. I mean, my mom didn't think so. I didn't think this was going to be a job. She, it's not like
Magician? What's that?
well, see, I used to live really close to a church, and I would be an altar boy, and they would catch me fanning cards from the end of the block to the church.
Cool.
And by the time I got home, my mom knew everything. There was no internet. I mean, I was like, why'd you throw that rock? I was like, what rock? It's like, well, it's like, yeah, she knew everything, man. So, yeah, it's a career that I'm really glad I took. I don't regret anything. Even nowadays. I mean, even nowadays, it's a trying time for all of us. Really, it really is. I didn't want to do virtual shows because I think magic should be one-on-one, creating those things with people. Um, it just, but thank you, Patrick. I just saw what you were. Thank you. I appreciate that. So today was my first virtual show, believe it or not.
And
It was fun.
okay.
Because I married two characters. I don't know. Some of these guys might be too young, but I married Captain Kangaroo and Pee Wee Herman.
Yes.
Yes. So it was like, hey guys, you want to see some magic? Can we see magic? Ooh, yeah. So, yeah, it's like, and what do you think? So it was kind of a weird combination, and it worked. The sad thing is you don't get the reaction from the people, that instant reaction that you need to kind of gauge yourself. Are you going the right way? Are you making them laugh? Are you that kind of thing? Luckily, you get to see their faces. So that was a good plus, and this kind of thing here or this there makes you feel good.
Yeah. Well, times are definitely different right now, but people are making the best of it. They're doing things that they've never done before, and we wish you luck on your future shows. I know that
I have some lined up.
Cool.
I don't have many. I can honestly say I have like a week full of school shows, like 2 schools a day.
Okay.
But other than that, I don't really have much that I could say, oh my God, this is going to be great for the rest of the year. I don't know how long. Really don't know how long this is going to last.
Yeah, I know. I've heard
Kind
that.
of weary on spending the money. Spending the money on these. If you see my setup, this is not a green screen. There's not a green screen. Got the lights and yeah. So I'm hoping that it'll pay off. If not, it's great. I mean, it sort of gets you, and I think I needed it. I needed to get out of the rut. You're now thinking differently. You're now marketing differently. So
Oh yeah.
it's because for many years where I live in south part of Texas, I have two homes. I have one here in San Antonio and one down south, about 4 hours. Down south, they knew me. I mean, when people know you, when a lady sees you at a grocery store and goes, "Hey, are you? I just saw your show." I said, "Really? Yeah, yeah." And I remember when I was 5 years old, you came to my house to do a birthday party. It was like, oh my God, I have now officially been that old. So yeah, yeah. That's when you go. That's when you're like, oh, there's the people that are hiring you had seen you when they were in elementary school.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah, yeah.
All
The
right.
counselors. Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, I saw you when I was in elementary school, and now I'm negotiating contracts with her. So,
Wow. For their
yeah,
kids sometimes too. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Sometimes I have
Wow.
to, and it's kind of like, well, I got you this school, and what can you do for me to come to my house to do like,
Well, why don't we fast forward a little bit? Let's skip ahead a little bit. Um, you mentioned being in the military, of course, too, but going from picking up, the magic, getting into magic, and then dabbling, and how did you then progress into becoming the president of the IBM? That's quite the feat, from such humble
wow.
beginnings to become the president of that. That's cool.
Well, when you read the magazine, when you were, I became a member of International Brotherhood of Magicians when I joined the Marine Corps because I can afford to get the magazine. And you read about all these people. I tell you what, I truly respect all those who have worked. There's so many people out there that have worked on the chairs of the IBM and not made it to the IBM president. And those are the unsung heroes, because those guys really donate their time. We all donate our time. It's not a like you're gonna get rich kind of a thing.
Hmm.
It's donating time, and the only time they hear about you is when you make a mistake. So,
Of
um,
course, yeah.
yeah. And those guys that have really worked hard, should have been president way before I did. Um, I just somehow somebody asked me if I would help, and I said yes. And it's like being the den leader of the Boy Scouts when they say, "Who would like to volunteer?" and a fly goes by, and you went like this, and oh, you, well, pick you. And so
That's funny.
that's how I really got into it, and I really want to give back to the art that made me who I am. I mean,
Nice.
in Broadway, there's a song, the "What I Did for Love,"
Hmm.
and I believe oh, it's one of the Broadway shows. What I Did for Love was in Course Line,
Okay.
and the dancer breaks his ankle. He talks about what he does for love, and I think this is what I do. It makes me feel good that they're able to help the young kids. We have a great youth program. We have a lot of good stuff for the IBM. We have a great president right now. It's Stephen Bargatze.
Oh yeah.
We had a past president, Alex from Canada, Alex Alexander. I mean, you name it, some of the big names. I mean, Mr. Michael Finney, Sean Farquhar. I mean, yeah, these guys do it for the art of magic. It's not easy sometimes, man.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't please everybody at the same time.
Well, it's something that it's part of your legacy, which is a big deal, and that's one thing I'm glad that there are people like you, while you're not directly, involved like you were when you were president, keeping the club tradition alive, because magic clubs have becoming more and more extinct. It's kind of the word.
Well,
They're
with his
kind of,
opening of the internet and stuff,
yeah.
yeah, it has because, but the young folk, and I don't say young folk because also my generation
Uh-huh.
has failed in a sense that when we were growing up, you had to go search, you had to network with people, you had to you know, be able to talk to them, and they would tell you all these stories on things got and how this was came about. This little special moves makes the trick a lot easier, and I don't think the kids and folk today are getting that anymore. There's so much distance in between people, and
Yeah.
magic should be inclusive. They should be um, together. It's like the ring. We call our group rings, a linking ring, and it's unbroken. And that's the way it should be. And everybody inside that ring should work together, not being like this is my secret or I can't tell you how that's done, but to mentor and to teach others and point them in the right direction. You don't have to tell them like that how the whole trick is done, but you can show them, hey, when I was young, I found it in this book, and if you need help, come to me. I'll give you assistance. But
Right.
yeah, today with this internet thing, you know, people don't want to really mix, and with pandemic too. I mean,
Yeah, right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, with the internet, I'm gonna ask you a question about a topic that we've talked a little bit about in the past. That is with the internet and with having an organization like the IBM, um, helping the next generation or just people that are interested in magic, but also the exposure that comes as part of the internet, that space. People are, they're not being old school, which, when you become a member of one of these clubs, there's like this unwritten rule, and sometimes it is a written rule, that you don't share the secrets. I'm curious, from someone that's been president of the IBM, how do you feel about the type of stuff that you're seeing in the online space when it comes to exposure? It's a very real thing.
Yeah, I just recently saw a couple. I don't know where they're from. They were mimicking another two guys who showed their trick how it's done, and they hit each other. And I just saw a man and a woman do that.
Hmm.
Kind of hurts. I mean,
Yeah.
People do it for the clicks,
Yes.
you know, and unfortunately, they're hurting themselves later down the road. I
Yeah.
mean, because they're not going to remember you for what you did. They're going to remember the clicks,
Hmm.
I think that's pretty sad that somebody can take somebody's material and just expose it because they want to, just because they want to make themselves, famous. I don't know how famous you are. If they don't, if you understand that media creates you, media can destroy you. I mean, I can get off this and go perform, and people remember me, not so much being on this social media thing, but me performing.
Hmm.
And that's what I like to create is I like to create memories with people. The clicks, you know, they come and go. It's
Sure. Yeah.
like a soundbite. You know,
Yep.
like
Yep.
boom, I saw him, and then like 3 weeks later, you go like, who was that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
we just saw this guy with the card and the butt thing. I mean, I thought that was kind of like, come on, dude, do you really need that many? I mean, come on. I know that I couldn't do that because I have daughters and I have a wife, and if they would come to me and said this happened to me at a party, yeah, no, I'd be looking for that person.
Well, we can shift now to something a little more positive, which is magic competitions,
Oh,
which is something that you won several awards, including the Gold Cups, which is quite the
yeah.
feat. So let me bring in my applause. I know you're not going to be able to hear this, but I've got a soundtrack
Oh,
coming
oh,
through. A little
oh, please,
applause.
no, come on, stop it.
Um, why don't we dig into that? Because I've tried competing before and I hated it, Oscar. I absolutely
What?
hated it.
Man?
Um,
Look, not really competing against each other. You're competing with yourself because you learn how to work with timelines. You
sure.
know how to uh, make sure you have everything in order to be able to compete. My wife and I run the competition for IBM now. We've been doing it now for it's going on 6 years. And I got to meet these young cats that are coming up who I'm so amazed at. One of them was Shim Lim. I knew Shim when he was what, gosh, maybe 15, 16 years old,
Wow.
coming up the ranks, winning and losing. He was going up against, at that time, it was him and Ruben Moreland. Um, but competition is not a competition between each other. It's a competition within yourself to be able, this is my deadline. I have to have something set ready to perform for my peers and hopefully win. I mean, when I won the Gold Cups, it was $500. You know how much it is today? $5,000.
Whoa, are you serious?
Totally serious.
Wow, I had no idea.
It's,
Okay.
it's first place is 2,500. Gold Cups is $5,000, and People's Choice is 500.
Wow. Okay.
So potential of winning that much money in one shot, it could be there.
I think that's the reason I didn't like it though, is because you're performing basically to your peers, and they don't react the same way as a normal audience would. And two,
Yeah.
a lot of times they're just looking at you from a technical standpoint and not wanting to be entertained, which as a performer, that's threw me way off. And I'm not saying I don't like watching competitions, but just as someone that's tried, and I was young, I was in my teens, I don't know, it
Still,
just left a weird taste. So like, why don't you give some advice on competing? I know you were given some little nuggets there, but when it comes to competing, maybe some advice on people that have wanted to do it, especially now I know there's money like that involved. Um, what can people do, or how can they structure an act or a competition?
well, I suggest this is the way I did it. I did not perform for magicians. I took the stuff that I was doing already and just performed it.
Okay.
So you got to understand when you go to a convention, there's so many levels of people that go to these conventions. Some are just be spouses of magicians. Some people who watch you are just me, just starting in magic. Some are just hobbyists. They really don't perform. Not everybody is in the same level. So when you go there and compete, do the material that is you. Don't try to fool magicians because magicians will go like, yeah, well, that was a great double lift. I could have done that, and don't assume that you can fool them. I mean, I try to just go out and entertain them because that's the easiest way is to just entertain, do what you love to do, and within those 8 minutes that you got, it's usually 10 minutes. I prefer to have a strong 8-minute routine
Mhm.
than a week 10. So I shoot for about 8.5, 8.5. You give people a lot to laugh and clap, and that way you don't go overtime. But yeah, just perform the stuff that makes you you. That when you walk out of this place, they'll remember that. That's the purple zoot suit.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Before I was doing magic, I was competing in theater. So you get certain lines, and your friends, Romans, countrymen, le medallas, and you wanted people to remember who you were. So the purple zoot suit, the purple is number one royal color, right? Purple and yellow are royal colors. So they had to remember. They couldn't remember my name. They had to remember what I looked like, and it was that suit. I have like about 4 of those suits, by the way.
I was gonna ask.
Yeah, no, really, it went from big to small to big again. So, they remembered me in that suit and the fedora, and they go, "Oh yeah, you're the guy in the purple zoot suit." And so then they associated that with my name, and that really helped. So it finds a way to sticking out. That could also help you. That when the competition is over, if it's something you did, the way you left them feeling, and the magic that you have.
All right.
And if you marriage all that together, this shouldn't be a problem. I mean, magic in itself, some people may like what you did, some people may not. But it's not saying that you're bad. It's just that moment in time, I was lucky that I was better than everybody else. So don't give up. It's just a way to kind of force you to have something ready. So, and if they like it, that's awesome. And it has opened a lot of doors for me. I mean, I can't deny that. Magic has opened doors, and the Gold Cups have opened a lot of doors. I got to travel all over the world performing with this act and the close-up act as well. There's no footage of me on doing the close-up act because at that time we didn't have phones and stuff like that like we have today.
It's funny you mentioned that. I was going to ask. There's not a whole lot of other content of you online. There's a lot of performing, like I'm seeing here, some kid shows. Right. I've got some clips of that, but yeah, I guess it's just weird, isn't it, how things have changed with magic, with technology, with everything, and now here we are doing this, via technology too.
It's like a cool circle kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's not. I used to appear parakeets in my close-up act when I won the Gold Cups, and donuts, sneeze donuts. Yeah, it's no longer. Yeah, again, you won't see that. This is part of the rope routine was part of the close-up.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. See, I was a guy that took the table away from performing. So I realized that performing in front of a group of people sitting in tiered seating is not close-up.
Yeah, true that.
It's stand-up close-up. So as we call it, parlor. So I brought in music at the time as well. So I moved the table in front of me, the chairs away, and I did a stand-up act. Yeah, I was different. And I also studied, though. I also studied what was the trend. I'm like, one year everybody was doing the meg tricks.
Yep.
And the other year was everybody's doing cards. They were doing the cups and balls. So I just, in fact, my opening line for the competition was, "I will not attempt to bore you with any card tricks, corn tricks, no, those silly 3-cup tricks. No, I am different. I will attempt to bore you with a piece of rope." And so, yeah, that was my opening lines for the competition.
That's funny, dude.
Yeah, but don't be afraid. I encourage anybody that we have 2 great organizations in Magic. We have the IBM and the SAM. Both of them are super awesome organizations. I believe SAM has a great reach out program for the youth. That they do really great stuff for the youth. So, and IBM as well. IBM does the McBride, Lance Burton, and Jeff McBride team seminar. So both organizations are super. They both push the art of magic and camaraderie with other magicians. So SCM has great assemblies throughout the country. IBM also have great rings. I have friends in both both organizations. Some organizations, IBM and SAM, combine their groups, and that's even better. So IBM and SAM, I think, are the two best organizations that we have for IBM. I mean, for the Magic in itself.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, we definitely encourage people to. I mean, even now online, I know that there's been a lot of stuff. The IBM's been very active doing some online stuff, which is very cool to see. I mean, why not adapt?
Shout out to our past president. He has put this thing together with what we call the jam sessions. Mm-hmm. Alex Seaman has put this together, and every week there's something going on, or every 2 weeks. So just watch your Facebook. I mean, he has some really great people out there.
And if people want to see a listing, I know right now a lot of clubs may not be meeting in person, but if people do want to look into that for when things ease up a little bit, where can they do that to find out if they have a local club near them that they could actually go to? Is there a website or
magician.org? Magician.org. They can go up there and check out and who's nearby them and stuff. Okay. The Facebook, we have the Facebook for IBM as well.
Cool.
And if you want to start your own ring, you can always contact our ring coordinator, Sean Farquhar. His email address is in the Lincoln Ring. So if you're in a city where you are the only one, or you find there's 10 other magicians that want to get together, and create your own ring, you can start that. Sean Farquhar will be the guy to ask.
Okay.
Or contact magician.org, the main office. All that information's on there.
Cool. All right, magician.org. You guys should go check that out and look into that.
Tell him I sent you, because I'm the member chairman too. So.
Okay.
Magician.org.
We have Danny says our ring meetings are on Zoom. Ring 76. He says they've shifted some of their meetings now.
Yes, that's another thing that they're going to, which I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Because what happens here is now, let's say Ring 76. And you get another ring, 269, go, hey, let's have a meeting together. Now the ring gets bigger. You know? You can share more information with each other and develop more friendships, which is a great idea. Great, awesome idea.
Love it. And I have to ask the lingering question, at least the one for me. Is there an Oscar Munoz club somewhere? Do you have a ring named after you out there?
Oh, no.
All right, no. Not yet. Not yet.
No, not yet, but no. Yeah. I could tell like my wife, and I think I suggested to you, I want to be that one that people remember instead of going like, oh yeah, we remember him when he was good. So.
I want to thank the guys out there too, at least on Facebook. Patrick is out there. He posted the link as well, so you guys should click on that and look more into it. Frankie, our friend from our chat, has a question. He wants to know, why did you choose stage magic? Out of all the areas of magic, what made you kind of zone in on that? I know you do more than that, but what made you really...
Stood at the theater. Acting and stuff, it was a lot easier for me to get up on stage. And I mean, I can do all. In fact, Johnny Thompson called me, he said, you're a triple threat. And at that time, I didn't know what that meant until he explained it to me. It was that you can do everything. You do close-up, you can do stage, you can do parlor, you can, So, but I like stage because, you kind of command everybody at once.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I can do close-up as well, but I love stage. You have your own show, your own, yeah. I used to do a lot of cattle calls when I was younger, because I wanted to be that actor and stuff, and that, there's not very many parts for Latinos. Not unless you know how to say, hey, you want to meet my sister? You won't, or you won't hear this. Friends, Roman, ese vatos, let me your ears, man. Come to crazy, sir. But so you won't hear any of that. But it would be fun though. It would be really fun to do that.
You've obviously embraced your background and where you came from, and you and I are getting to know each other. The one key word that kept popping up on our chats, Oscar, has been working for stuff. Hard work. That's the word.
Right.
Hard work. Why don't you share a little bit of the insight on what things used to be? We touched about what's going on with magic now with the internet, but like the value of magic and where that comes from. You and I both share that. A lot of value. Well,
there used to be. I mean, like I said, we used to go hunt for the information.
Yeah.
I mean, I learned my rope moves from George Sands.
Hmm.
And the first time I had George Sands with the Rio Grande Valley, he would come and perform for the RV parks for winter visitors. And a friend of mine said, "Hey, there's a magician performing at Moon. I think it's uh, Vacation in the Sun RV park." And so I got introduced to him, and I helped him unload his stuff. And though I knew that he couldn't pay me, wasn't asking for pay. What I was asking was able to watch him perform. And then when he like felt that I wasn't asking him for anything, he started sharing his stuff with me.
Cool.
So every time I would help him unload, throughout the seasons, he would teach me a move, a routine, or something that was taught by the master, you know. And there's not that many people that do that nowadays. But it's hard work. You're right. It's not easy. You know that's it. Oh yeah, your instant overnight sensation. Nah, man. It's this thing when I read it sometimes. No practice required. That's you and I know that's bull. You know, yeah. You gotta practice. You know, when you read that and you go, yeah, you can perform it right outside the box. They're like,
Yeah, right.
no, 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 it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Well, and also just, you and I have similar backgrounds, whereas we weren't just given the information, not just from other magicians, but also when it came to the type of resources that we needed. As a kid, I've shared with you, I would travel the States. Every penny I had saved up from mowing grass. I would go to conventions. I'd learn from the masters. I'd have to buy the books, and I think the value was there for us because to get the information, we had to earn it. And now with everything being so online and so almost open source to a point, I feel like the value of magic and some of the secrets is becoming smaller and smaller. And I've asked you this before, and I know there's no definitive answer, but how do you think we could continue to put the value around what we are as a community that's built on secrets? And that's where we're tricky, no pun intended, is we're an organization of people, we're a group of people we exist because of secrets, basically.
Yeah, but within those secrets, we are the keeper of the secrets, but we also need to pass that secrets so it continues to become, or it continues to live.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, if we hold those secrets, there are going to be people who are going to, oh, I know how that's done, and then they're just going to leave it alone. They'll forget about it. But if you pass on those secrets to the next generation, then they become the bearer of the secrets.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way this art form is continued. I mean, if you look at a guy who plays the piano, his secrets are written down in the notes he plays.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's a different style than what he sees on those music sheets, but it's his way of interpretation. And I think our secrets are written down in books, but it takes a magician to take those secrets and interpret them to fit who he is and what he does. So many young kids today, I see them going like copying a certain style because they saw the DVD.
Yep.
And they have that same, oh, I like to show you something. I've seen this before, and and when I was traveling, it's a kid. You're 7 years old, man. How can you, And so our job is to say that's a great routine, or I love how you're going, but what if you did this? What if you did that? And teach them how to take critique too, because there are some people that don't know how to take critique, and you're just trying to help out.
Sure.
And they're like, oh, what do you know, man? It's like, no, okay. It's like, I was just trying to help out, but okay,
And
but yeah, I've been yelled at by the best theater directors. Yeah, no, I've been to the point they made me cry. I used to have a problem saying the word you.
Huh.
Y-O-U.
Uh-huh.
And I was in a play, and I would say, do you know what I mean? And the director would stop me and say, he was like, there are no Jews on this stage. The word is you. Y-O-U. He stopped the stage, stopped in the middle of the whole, and just yelled the heck out of me, and I cried. He's like, I'm trying, I'll fix it. But now I can't listen to the word you without hearing him yell at me.
That's funny.
Yeah. So,
now, I understand the point about passing on the secrets, right? I get that. And I'm going to dwell on this just a little bit longer because I'm very protective of the industry that I love so much. One of the things, though, I understand we need to share information, and Stephen had a good point, and I agree. He says, if you die holding a secret, then those secrets die with you. However, the barrier of entry, where is it now? I think that, for me, is the toughest thing to come to terms with, is because, things weren't so easy to access before. And again, I'm not saying that we shouldn't share secrets, but how do people prove that they should know those secrets now? That's becoming harder and harder, I feel like, these days. And that's the last I'll harp on this, because for me, it's a subject I care a lot about.
That's a good point. I mean, how do we? That's a hard question, because how do we come about it?
Right.
I mean, we stuck with it. We sweat and teared, and my mom didn't understand why I needed $250 to go to a convention. But I went and worked for it. We came about it in a different way of getting those secrets. And then the young folk, or the people that are, you could tell that this person is willing to learn, and is not going to go out there and expose tricks. And honestly, you can't really stop anybody from doing that. I wrote once a guy who was exposing a trick, and I basically said, it's a shame that you have to feel less than a person to share somebody else's secrets, to make yourself feel better, or important. And so it's a tough. In order for this to keep alive, people have to learn our secrets and carry those on. And unfortunately, there will always be, in any art, whether it be acting, dancing, playing the piano, playing an instrument. In any of those arts, there are going to be those people who take advantage of it and try to further their career in another sort of way. And we have to maintain that and go like, all right, I understand you. And we know that okay, it's time to go, move on. They come by and say, hey, how do you do this? And you got to say, hey, I trusted you with this, and you went out there and you showed everybody how that's done, and I thought you were going to keep the secret.
Yeah. Chris Cram says it's going to boil down to the quality, and I do know those of us that put the work into it, and that will outlast the others. So yeah, quality is always going to stand up. It's just it's something we could talk about for much longer, but I don't want to stick on that too long. But thank you for sharing your thoughts on it, because something I think about a lot. It really is, because I love this art, and it's done so much for me and allows me to do so much that I really respect it, and I just wish more people did to that level. But not everyone is me.
Really quickly, I had seen a trick overseas, and I brought it over to the United States, and there wasn't a new effect. I redesigned it with help from another magician, and I redesigned it in the sense that I saw the faults in it, and I said, this could be dangerous for kids, and I'm a kid performer too as well. So I redesigned it, put it together, and decided to put it in the market. Within I'd say maybe a day and a half or so, when people got a wind of it, I got calls from people, oh, you're a thief, you're this, you're that. Even though I improved it and made it better with the assistance of other people, I got called on it. And so I started asking people who I respected in the industry, what do you think I should do? Even though it's different in the whole appearance of the trick, the working mechanism is still a sharp object to cut a balloon. And he basically put it to me was, your name. How much is your name worth? So if you're gonna get dragged over something that's really minute like that, I let it go. I talked to the guy, and I said, look, I made this many. Can we sell this many? And we call it. And he goes, fine, that's great. And he was a really good guy after that. He was super. But we talked. you know.
Right. Okay.
So it's what you are worth.
Yeah. It's something else I wanted to talk about too with you that we cannot ignore, because this is also not only is trying to protect secrets a difficult thing, but so is performing for kids. And this is something that you have been doing for a very long time and continue to do now, even virtually, with
Oh yeah,
the
yeah.
shows that you're doing.
30 years.
30 years. Wow. That's crazy, man. What got you down the path of doing stuff for kids then? Why don't we go into that topic? Because
A ventriloquist from San Antonio, Texas. His name was Nacho Estrada.
huh.
He was a great ventriloquist. I had just started out doing magic, and we were working festivals. And he said, "Man, you'd be great at schools." And I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "You can get paid to do shows at school." And I had forgotten about that guy that I saw when I was elementary. So he got me started in doing schools. So from there, it's just a way of entertaining. People ask me, well, how do you reach them? It's like, if you have kids, it's like talking to your own kid.
Right.
And mine are all educational based, though, too. This one that I'm doing is about following directions and instructions. I give them, you got to walk down, make 5 steps, put the stand down and turn around, and the banana he has in his hand is a gun. Those are dangerous. They're loaded with potassium. So yeah. But that was a trick on following directions and instructions, and nobody's above the law, So yeah.
So I've got a question for you about kids shows that I am just dying to know.
Okay.
There must be at least one story that sticks out for you that's like, I can't believe this happened at a kid's show. There has to be like at least a story where you're like, you would not believe this. Like,
yeah.
Yeah? Can we get it? Yeah?
Yeah, sure. I had an opportunity to work with a great magician and his wife, Murray Hatfield and Teresa, out of Canada. And it was, I forget the name of the city, but I had this little girl come up on stage to help me out in a trick. And she's standing right next to me. And all of a sudden, I see this drip going from her pants down into her galoshes. And I realized that she is now taking a leak in front of everybody and God. So I ignored it. I made her the star that day. And so that to me has been one of those like moments when you go like, okay, I hope I'm the only one seeing this, but I'm going to make her a star. And nobody knew that she had taken a leak in her galoshes, but I did. And instead of guiding her back down the seat, because if I knew that if she would like go down the stairs, I knew that galosh boot was full, that it was going to come out. So I said, we got some special gift for you right outside. If you walk down that, and we escorted her out the one of the wings, and we gave her Murray Hatfield was so nice. He gave her a magic set. And her mom went backstage. She goes, I told her she needed to go to the bathroom before the show started, but she didn't. But yeah, that was one of the moments you go like, it happened in my show.
That's funny. What do you think is the most...
You make them laugh to pee.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, what do you think is like, you can't get a better line of, oh, like you had them laughing in tears. No, I had them laughing and, peeing themselves.
They laughed so much they peed. Or, here's another one. They get up from there's like 400 kids on the floor, get up and everybody's like walking around the child that peed in the row. Yeah. But like, yeah, move on. That's funny.
So anyone that wants to do kid shows or has thought about it or that does it and wants to get better at it, you've been doing it for so long, 30 plus years. Do you have any advice for people when it comes to doing kids shows? Maybe some highlights for you.
Pay attention to the children. They give you the best lines.
Cool.
Yeah. When doing the guy in the purple zoot suit, I heard his kid go, "Oh, mommy, when did Barney start doing magic?" So I added it in my show. I know what you're thinking. When did Barney start doing magic? And it got a big, great laugh. But kids will be honest with you. Kids will tell you the truth. Just listen to them. Stay up ahead of the lingo. They have their own lingo, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, man, you're fat. It's like, yeah, I know. And then you go, oh, you realize, oh, fat means good. I didn't know that.
Danny is saying he had a kid stand up and puke front and center one time. You ever had a kid get sick during one of your shows?
No, I can't say that. I can say that a kid has spit in my face once.
Oh, oh boy.
Yeah, I was doing a birthday party, and the lady paid me pretty well to go to do this birthday party, and we're waiting for everybody to come and sit down. The mom gives me like, give me a second. She needs to get her video camera. She, in fact, did that. So I'm waiting, and the music's playing, and the birthday boy's sitting right up front. And he's asking, when is the magic show going to start? So I leaned in to tell him, Mommy's getting the camera. He's just like, and a big spat.
Oh, God.
So I took my handkerchief and I wiped it down, and so I tell my assistant, pack up, we're leaving. Yeah.
Wow.
The mom, she just came in she was like, and it was like everybody just went in silence, So yeah, it was like, and so she talked me into staying. Well, I did, but they took him and put him in the back room and to let him out until the show was over. So yeah.
Yeah.
You roll with we roll with the punches.
True that. As a professional magician, as we start to wrap things up here, with the way that things are right now, where people aren't able to do live shows, at least at the moment, where do you think things will be, just your own opinion, once things do open back up? I know that you do a lot of interactive stuff. Do you think that you're going to have to change your whole show around? Or are you going to have to...
I don't think we're going to have to... I think. I don't know where the economy is going right now. But what we were charging before this pandemic hit, we won't be charging when we're allowed to go back. People may not have the money to pay, because I call that luxury money. When they can charge, you get paid, $350 to do a birthday party for 45 minutes. I don't think people go like, oh, sure, I happen to have it right here. Those were the days before it hit. Nowadays, it's really hard. I mean, I get calls for, can you do a Zoom thing for 30 minutes? And then you give them a quote and they go like, well, what do I get for 10 minutes? So it's I don't think it's going to be back to where it was. It's going to take some time to, because out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
If you used to be working every single weekend and people would, the advertisement with word of mouth, if they forget about who you are or forget about entertaining kids at their parties, you have to start all over again. Advertising, doing shows again. So it's going to be hard.
Never thought about those things, because you're right. I mean, when the ball's rolling, things are just keep happening. Yeah.
I had a friend of mine before this. He was like getting book, and this stopped in March, and now it's like, and some magicians make this. They forget the word show business. They forget the word business is part of show business.
Sure. That
they weren't saving for the rainy day.
Right.
Or now it's for the rainy year.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. So you always have to make sure that is one of the things about our business is business.
Yeah.
That you have to maintain your job. Yes, it's fun, it's great, but you have to think businessman.
Well said. One last question for you before I start to let you go over there, because I know you've got shows tomorrow you need to prep for too.
Yeah. That's why I got this up. After this, I get to do. I'm videotaping for a show that I'm performing for tomorrow.
Cool. Jacob would like to know, as a kids performer, have you ever had a kid catch you on a trick? And if so, how did you handle it?
It's a great question, Jacob. Yeah. There's a difference when they say, I know how this is done.
Uh-huh.
It's not really that they caught you. They want to say, I've seen this before.
Right.
Right. So they say, oh, I know how this is done. And so how do you handle that? There's other, there's some ways that like, oh, I know how this is done. Great. Now we both know. Let's keep it a secret. Or what's another one that they throw at you that you're like, oh, it's up your sleeve, and I perform with my sleeves rolled up, and it's like, wow, that's real magic. I didn't know that was that easy, So there are ways of handling it. If you ignore them, you're gonna keep shouting. So I used to have this box. I have this box. It does nothing. It was it's a box that has a crank in it, right? And so I get to the school. You're always watching the audience to see who you can play with, you can do. And I brought this kid up on stage, and you saw a moment from the teachers when they're like, "Oh no, pick him! Oh God, why'd you pick him? Oh God's gonna go down from here," And so when I brought him, it got 3 minutes. I go, "This kid is not gonna play." So I don't want to oh no, you sit down, because now I'm invested this. I don't want to make the kids feel bad, and I don't want the other kids to feel bad. So I had this box that did nothing. All it did was crank. So I said, Billy, I want you to sit down in this chair. I want you to crank the box, and you'll know when the magic starts to happen. Oh, you will know, right? So I set him down. He's cranking the box, and once in a while I'll come back to him. Has it happened? No. Came back. And I brought another kid up to help me out with the next effect while he was cranking this stuff. And I need more energy. Keep cranking it, And I just kept until my show was over. 40 minutes later, I said, Billy, did the magic happen? No, it did. You just don't know that it did happen. Let's give Billy a big hand. Give him the box, take the box, and set him down. Or like this. Where can we buy it? It's like, but it's just redirecting. That's all you got to do. Sure. Redirect.
Okay. And you guys that are out there watching too, I would love to hear how you guys handle it when people bust you on a trick. I'd love to hear how you guys handle that too.
Yeah, no. Yeah. And there's a lot of the big people, you know how they try to get involved in your show and they're not part of your show?
Oh, yeah.
I would carry, especially at the castle, I would carry a pink piece of paper, and somebody would say something and got this wah wah laugh or something. I would like pick it up and read it and go, I'm sorry, man, you don't come into line 27. And yeah, it's not going to work, is it? Or you thought comedy was easy, huh? That kind of a thing. So there's ways of doing it that makes them know, or lets them know that you are trying to entertain people and let me do my job, and your job is to watch me perform.
Yeah. Do you have time for one last question?
Sure. Yeah.
Cool. This is just a general question. Feel free to go as far into this as you want, but we have people watching that are some are new to magic, some of them are hobbyists, some of them have been in it for a long time. But you've been a professional magician, which means you actually get paid and make money. People that are thinking about it, and I know things are different right now, I understand that, but if people are looking at the future and looking at this as a time to regroup and prepare maybe for when they can go out and perform, people that want to make this a profession, if they want to become a magician and try to make a living from it, what type of advice would you give someone? And let's pretend for just a moment, let's all of us pretend that there's not a pandemic going on right now. Let's just pretend things are normal, and you're just giving advice for someone that wants to be a professional magician. What kind of advice would you give them?
Don't go after the money.
Okay.
I've been pretty blessed that magic has been really good to me. I don't go after the money. The money comes to me. Is it easy? No, not at all. It's not easy at all. You see what the performer on stage has been working on for years. You've seen that coal turn into a diamond. So you assume that, oh, I can do that right away. That doesn't work that way, because the magician is fine-tuning the line over and over, fine-tuning the way he looks, the way he walks on stage. It's a fine-tune every single day. So you have to put in the work into it to get it to shine. Because if you don't put the work into it, it's going to be that cold all the time, And if you want to make magic a career, start with theater, acting. Cool. Learn how to walk on stage. Learn how to walk off stage. Learn the nomenclature of stage performing, and it applies whether you're doing a birthday party or you're doing a stage performance. because you know how to direct the audience. You know your 45s. You know what the distance, the makeup that you need to use. You know the whole gambit. Theater is the key to be able to stand in front and talk to people.
Okay.
No.
Makes sense. And if people would like to keep up with you after this as well, website, any social media accounts that you have.
That's my email. My direct email is oscarmunoz.com.
Okay.
You'll get, if I don't know the answers to it, I'll try to find the answers to it.
Okay.
I may not all, as my wife lets me know every single day, I don't know everything. So, but what I do know, I like to share,
Cool. And again, it's magician.org. Oscar's a former president of the IBM.
If you want to click on there, if you don't know about, listen, IBM has great references that you can go into. You can ask Alexander. If you're a member, you can go in and ask Alexander. If any of you know what that is, it's a search engine. It just costs about $300 to get. You can get Ask Alexander. You get to link with other magicians. You get to link with other clubs. So yeah, magician.org.
All right, very good. Well, Mr. Oscar, I want to say thank you. I know we've had a lot of people also out there saying thank you as well, for your time and answering some questions. I know there were a lot more, but
thank you, man, for giving me the opportunity, and also for Murphy's chat sessions at night, all about magic. That's a great thing to go and just talk and listen to other magicians and realize, wow, there's a brotherhood out there.
We're out there.
Loves the same thing that you like to do. So I like to thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, man, it's been fun. And everyone, make sure to keep up with Oscar. Just look him up. It's oscarmunoz.com. Check him out. And that's it. So from the two of us to all of you out there watching or listening on our podcast, and you can listen on Apple Podcasts or any of the major platforms. Just do a search of Murphy's Magic, and you can listen to interviews like Oscar or the ones that have come before. And don't forget, if you're new here, we do live chats every single week, so make sure you turn on the live notifications, or if you're on YouTube, click the bell so you get notified when videos pop up too. So that's it for me. That's my spiel, and that's it from Oscar. So we're going to go now. Hope you guys have a great night, and thank you again to Oscar and you guys for the great questions. See you next time. See you guys.
Thanks for sticking around.